Right, hello everyone. It's very nice to be here. In the city today, I born and grew up. And what I want to talk about, pretty much is some underrepresented group. And also I want to talk about startups that are, and the founders without, let's say, much privileges. So there is this, we go out every day and we read about startup news, assuming, the founders here, the new startups, people planning to start their companies, already started early on. I will be mostly talking about early stages. So how can you succeed when you don't have a network, when you don't have savings, investments, so you cannot just sit and work for 1 year with no money? When you're not graduated from some top-level university, when you grew up in a country like Turkey, slightly, let's say, underdeveloped, or not as developed as some Western countries, clearly not San Francisco, we're in Istanbul, it's definitely gonna be great, but not that great, or worse, right? So before I will briefly explain who am I, and how it relates to all this. So the whole presentation will be based on my personal story of how I came here. I was in the same situation. I was in a situation where I didn't have any particular network. I didn't have money. I was a high school graduate. I still am. And I want to say, look, okay, I have some technical skills. I can do stuff. And I want to start my own company, and I have an idea. Okay, but how do you go ahead and do it? Where do you start from? Can you just go somewhere and, okay, give me money? And keep in mind, this was in 2009 in Istanbul, so there isn't much to about it. At one point, actually, I wasn't in Istanbul, but it was quite similar for me. I have no idea or no network in terms of where I can go from an angel or a VC or anything to raise money. So I had two things, though. I was good at technical things. So I understood product management. I understood product development. I understood what it takes to build something. And I had skills to build it. But that was about it. And like a lot of patience and really, really want to make something. So my company is Netsparker. What it does, it finds vulnerabilities automatically in web applications and web services. So you have a website, you point to it, it tells you how it can get hacked, and then so you know now how it can get hacked, you know how you can address that problem, then you go ahead and fix it. So that's how it started. Sorry about that. And the biggest problem I had, actually, especially looking back, I had no vision of business. I have a great vision in technical terms. I had no vision of business. And I remember setting up this company, building this product, I was thinking about pricing. And I was thinking about, okay, this product gonna cost $1,000. Who would pay that much? It's just so much money. I just didn't get it. And it was just too much. And I was worrying myself like, this is too much. No one's gonna pay this. And mostly because I didn't understand business. I didn't have any vision of it. And going further today, it's a B2B business founded in 2009. We have companies all around the world. We have 45 employees. Everyone works from home, completely distributed. And we are working with pretty much all the companies you might be knowing, like NASA, Intel, Microsoft. And we got about 50 customers, mostly enterprise customers in Turkey, and mostly in the US. Also, I'm a small-time investor. I only invested 2 companies, more like an angel investor. One is study a course that helps students find language courses and generally study abroad. And I have another investment, so I'm trying to kind of get back to the ecosystem in my way when I believe something really, really good. So in this presentation, I will briefly assume a couple of things. I won't be talking about hardware startups. I won't be talking about certain operational startups where you have to survive 5 years, and then you might turn a profit. Similar to that, hardware startups requires a lot of initial investment. So I won't be talking about them. And depending on how you look at things, I suggest you don't as well. I suggest If you believe if you are in a situation where you don't have a network, you don't have money, and you got so many other disadvantages as a founder, as a startup founder, I suggest to not look at social, not look at hardware kind of startups where you can only start if you only have $1 million. You can do it, that's not a discussion, but also you can win lottery. That doesn't mean you go ahead and buy lottery tickets. So the chances are you're gonna make it is slim, and this is already hard. Don't make it harder for yourself. So, and again, just one step back, the presentation is about this situation. You got all these limitations, and then when you get out, if you are working on a product with so much competition, in my case, when we launch, we compete against IBM, we compete against HP, we compete against a bunch of other companies who are heavily VC funded. The smallest company started about 5 years before us on the same market. And the companies like IBM, they started almost like 10 years ago. And obviously, going against IBM and HP as no one, that was tough. So first advice, kind of ironic being here talking in this event, but stop networking. So the idea of stopping networking is first, build something great, build something that's useful. Then you can network. You can know everyone, but if you don't have anything to sell, it won't work. You need something first, and then you need a network. And network is a two-sided coin. So you can build something and build a network, that's fine. There is a point for it. But also, if you can actually build something great, network will come to you. And that's very easy. I mean, you will be really surprised how easy to network when you have something really good, when you have something to show for, when you can prove traction record of your company. So first do that, then spend your time on networking if you need to. Another thing, I think it's a huge problem. It's a very bad problem as well. When I talk with new founders, when I talk with people who want to set up their own company, run their own business, start, build a product, build a business, one of the common misconceptions is they read TechCrunch, they read news articles, they look at Silicon Valley, they look at this old startup world, which sounds great, but it doesn't apply to you. That's just a fact. It applies to only minority in one place, in one particular situation, and even then it's very hard. So you hear someone is talking about, okay, I have this company and I'm gonna raise, I don't know, 5 million. Okay, fantastic. So what's your traction? Pretty much nothing, because it's only idea stage. So what is your valuation on that raise? Something like 20 million. Okay, 20 million for what? You have nothing just yet. So the reality is, you gotta stop, forget about this completely. This is not the reality of startup for you and for many others. So it's not worth it. And there's one of the examples I'll just pick up for the presentation, really. People solving first world problems. These might work in some places, in some way, but it's extremely limited. If you think about WhatsApp, the biggest success of WhatsApp was they were very popular in countries like Brazil and Turkey. I remember, even back in the day, talking with someone in US, and they see WhatsApp, or I say WhatsApp, and they have no idea what it is. Even though at the time WhatsApp was massive and ruling the world, it wasn't popular at all in US, because they were using iMessage. But today, we see what WhatsApp became. Because they're not only focusing to first world problems or particular first world country region, they actually solve the problems for a massive world where people having problems in Turkey because of data charges and a bunch of other things, because SMS text was so expensive, and there's like all other aspects of it, because not everyone has an iPhone. So, and another thing about building the product, you really don't need much money in software startups. You don't need 70 million to build an application, majority of the time. So best practice, this is another thing. I mean, you start a company, you build something, then you look at other companies. You know, someone made it, someone really big, someone really successful, and either in their blogs, you read in the books, their best practice. Okay, here is the best practice of doing that. It might be correct, but keep in mind your best practice is different. You are small, you are agile, you can do stuff they cannot do. So don't take a best practice from a company with 1,000 employees. Don't take your best practice from a development team with 100 developers. You have 2 developers. It doesn't work for you. It won't work for you. You can move fast, they can't. So they build all different best practices. So their best practice is not your best practice. Similar advice. You will hear this crazy advice from unicorns or ridiculously successful companies. Like this one, it really hit me when I read. So early years of Github, they actually published a blog post. And they said, you know what? In our development team, we tell them, do whatever you want. And that will build a great product because all these guys are smart and they will surely build great stuff. And that is just insane. And obviously, a couple of years down the line, GitHub doesn't do that anymore because it's just stupid. So pick what pick the advice. And this is really obvious to spot. If you see something clearly goes against so much common sense, but more importantly, goes against any other common advice you are getting about startups, that's possibly not something good. So in that sense, you can see companies doing something crazy, but very successful. That doesn't mean that crazy stuff is right. It just simply means they are successful despite of that crazy thing. Because their core product, core offering, core business proposition is so good, it still works, despite of what they are doing. Starting a company is about running your business. Starting a business is about what you want to do. You are the founder, co-founder. Define what you want to do with this. Do you want to, make really big? Do you want to be the next Facebook? The famous quote of, it's $1 billion. Is that what you want? Or do you want a lifestyle business where you can wake up every day happy, stress-free, and making a lot of money? And if you fit this bill, where you are coming from a background similar to mine, or similar to so many people in Turkey, similar to so many people in Pakistan, Asia, and a bunch of other places, your lifestyle understanding is much different anyway. So it's very easy to reach that lifestyle with your own business. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to make 50 million every year to be okay with it. I mean, if you want more, that's fine. That's your choice. But understand what you want and go for it, nothing else. So building your company, I will quickly skip this, but the idea is definitely do understand the basics of startup. And this is a great event for it, and there are lots of resources for it. In mentorships, you will get the same thing. Just understand the basic startup metrics. What MVP means, why you need MVP. You need to release your MVP now. There are tons of it. No point repeating them. They're all over the place. There are so many great books about it. Just understand them so well, because everything they say is pretty much true. And whenever I myself, I observed in myself, whenever I ignore a really common sense advice and startup ecosystem because I thought I was smarter, I wasn't. They were just right. And years later, I paid the price for it. So just get it right. It's obvious it's there. As a small company facing the competition, you got another problem. One of the biggest problems, getting into a market. If you're not creating a new market, which is a massive challenge, then what you're going to get into is you're going to compete. Now, the competition is tough because your competitor might have simply $100,000 per month to spend on adverts, to spend on other things. You don't have those kind of resources. So when you have a product, when you have a business, when you have a service, when you have an offering, when someone comes to you and say, okay, why do I switch from this company to you? You need to be able to answer this so clearly, so well. Telling them, because we are slightly better, that's not good enough. Because our user experience is kind of okay or much better than them, that's not going to be enough. You got to give them something so good. They need to say, okay, this is great. I will switch just for this. So in our case, for example, in the company, what happened is, when we launched our product, as I said, the product is finding vulnerabilities in web applications. So one of the biggest problems in this space, sheer amount of false positives. So you get a report, the date on the report is not actually correct when you check it. So despite of the fact we had so many other limitations, what we had, okay, we solved this one problem, but we solved it so well, but there are so many other limitations. So when it comes to sell, we tell the customer, we tell the prospect, look, because we solved this problem. So you switch because you have this problem and we solve this problem. And no one else solves this problem as good as us. To follow this up, to build that up, you need to focus. You need to really, really focus. You don't have resources. You cannot survive for 5 years without money. You need to focus on what you do, whatever is your core offering is, whatever is your unique selling point. Build that idea, focus on it, execute it to the maximum possible you can. And what is important is not what you do, it's not what you not do. When you run things, when you have a product, when you have a business, there will be tons of ideas that you want to execute, and every single one of them kind of matters, but some of them matters in 1%, and some of them matters in 80%. So what you want to do, allocate your resources into things that matter and ignore everything else. That's what you need to do initially, and eventually you will have all other things. This is one of the fantastic sayings I've heard, and I love this. Steve Martin says, be so good they can't ignore you. It's such a simple saying, but it's also obviously very hard to execute. I mean, you cannot just one person be good and they turn out to be good next day. That doesn't work like that. It takes years. But what you can do, when you focus on your unique selling point, when you focus on your core offering but nothing else, then you can be really, really good at that one thing, and that will save you. That might be enough to just survive, just make it, and get to the reach, get to the point where you make a differentiation in your market, where you solve this problem, but you solve it so well, just that one problem. And everything else in your offering, in your product, in your business, can be addressed later on, because now you start getting traction, now you are selling, now you are making money, you got time, you got resources. Don't play their game. When you head up with competition, they know what they are doing. They invented it, maybe. They have money, they have resources, they have already started before you. Don't try to do what they're exactly doing, you will fail. What you need to do, find a way around. Do guerrilla marketing. When there is a market, you can see your competition is dominating a segment of market. What is the underrepresented segment? And don't forget, you don't have to dominate a market. There are so many markets. You can have 5% capture of that, and that will be great. It might just fit into what you are looking for. Maybe you won't be that, as I said, 1 billion company, but you will have a great company, and you will be making money. And then you will have resources for your next stage if you got that one big other idea in your campaign to get there. So start from small. Start from where they are not attacking, attack that, get that. Then you can attack their core business. That's what we did. When we started, we focused on, okay, there is this enterprise market. Well, we can't do enterprise sales. We don't have a sales team. We don't know enterprise sales either. And enterprise sales requires so many other resources. So we said, okay, what if we can and do our best to sell it online and use all the other common tactics just to sell it online, so no sales team or minimum amount of sales team. And then we did that. And after 5, 6 years, then we got into the enterprise market because now we got resources, we got money, and now we are taking that market as well, the enterprise market. So find that underrepresented segment of the market or something like that. Use it in your advantage. Take that. Then once you have resources, go to the next stage. Finally, about marketing, make some noise. You are small. If they say something, if they claim something publicly, if it's not right, if you do it better, as we talk, you focused on something, you do something great. So talk about it. Pick fights publicly if necessary. If they come back, good for you, that's free publicity. If not, it's still good for you, you got really good arguments, you got really document, and when you try to close a sale, you tell them, okay, look, this is what we do. And here is the document, how we do it better than competition or anyone else. So it's just a very good tactic to do it. So to recap very quickly, you got a big advantage where many competition, big companies, or people who can just raise or got network or bunch of other advantages. What you know how to hustle, right? You know it because you've done it all your life. I've done it all my life. So when I get into business, and when someone tells me, well, it's all about hustle, I am all about hustle. My life was a hustle. So you got that advantage, use it. You're agile, you can change tactics, you can do stuff. You can build it. So I don't want this to be the whole speak. Instead of telling what you don't do, I want it to be what you can do. Use your advantage because you have it. So the idea is, go ahead and build something great, focus on it, do it, and use what you know in your life. How you came to this point, how you managed to build your company, or trying to build your company. And just keep that momentum to build something great, and it will just happen. So thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you for listening.